It is not the fox that empties most coops. It is the keeper. The keeper never knows. Every year, 9 ordinary mistakes accidentally kill your chickens faster than anything with teeth ever will. A toxic scrap from your own kitchen. A lamp hung with love to keep them warm. A door sealed tight against the cold, out of pure kindness. And here is the strange part. Every mistake on this list is a modern shortcut. Heat lamps, plastic buckets, poison off a hardware shelf. My coop was built before any of those things existed, and it never took them in. So our birds have spent 3 generations on the far side of the fence, watching these mistakes happen to everyone else. That makes an old Amish coop what the scientists would call a control group. Whatever keeps killing backyard flocks, it is not killing ours, and the difference is never money. It is habit. So I will count all 9 down, from the common to the heartbreaking. For each one you will get the mistake, what the bird actually dies of, and the plain habit our people use instead, most of them free. And stay with me to number 1, because number 1 is not a thing you can buy or build. It is 1 hour of one evening, and ask any keeper who has been at this longer than his knees would like. That hour takes more birds than the rest of this list put together. If you want your answers plain and your coop honest, go ahead and subscribe. I will not ask again until the work is done. Number 9. Killing them with treats. Every keeper loves the sound a flock makes when the scraps come out. And somewhere along the way, a whole generation decided a chicken is a garbage pail with feathers. Bread, chips, pasta, sweet corn by the bucketful. The birds love it, the children love throwing it, and everyone walks back to the house feeling generous. Here is what is actually happening. A hen's crop is small. Every beakful of bread that goes in is a beakful of proper feed that does not. Her feed carries the protein and the calcium that build the egg and the bird. Bread carries neither, so the treats do not poison her. They crowd her. The shells go thin. The feathers go dull. She lays less. She carries fat where a hen should never carry it. And one warm afternoon her heart or her liver simply quits, and the keeper never once connects it to the kindest thing he did all summer. The rule in our barnyard is the scrap bucket rule, and it has been the rule since my grandfather's day, and it has 2 halves. First, the bucket gets sorted, not dumped. Garden trimmings, greens, the outer leaves of the cabbage, those go over the fence. Anything salty, sweet, moldy, or fried does not. A hen is livestock, not a compost pile. Second, the scraps come out in the afternoon, after the birds have spent their morning on real feed. So the treat rides on top of a full ration instead of in place of one. And if you want one number to carry away from this item, the feed men and the old keepers agree on it for once. Treats, all treats together, no more than 10% of what she eats. Hold that line and you can keep the happy sound without quietly starving the flock that makes it. That one is common. The next one is stranger, because the internet is wrong about it in both directions at the same time. Number 8. The tomato confusion. Ask whether chickens can eat tomatoes and you will raise 2 armies. One says tomatoes are nightshade, pure poison, never again. The other says nonsense, my birds have eaten them since the flood. And underneath, one of the biggest chicken warning videos ever posted, a keeper who had been feeding tomatoes for 25 years left a quiet correction that 1,000 people signed with their thumbs. The plants are the poisonous part, she wrote, not the fruit. She is right, and the difference is worth your birds' lives, so let me lay it out straight. The tomato is a nightshade, the same family as the potato. The green parts of that family, the vines, the leaves, the stems, the hard green fruit, and the green-skinned sprouting potato, all carry a bitter defense the chemists call solanine. It is the plant's way of punishing whatever eats it. A ripe red tomato has traded that defense away. That is what ripening is. So the ripe fruit is fine, and the vine it grew on is not. The trouble is that this mistake never looks like feeding your birds tomato vines. It looks like letting the flock into the garden at the end of the season to clean up. It looks like pitching the frost-killed plants over the fence with the weeds. It looks like a pail of soft, greening potatoes too far gone for the kitchen, sent to the hens so nothing goes to waste. Kindness again, doing the killing. Our garden fence settles the whole argument without anyone needing to remember chemistry. The vines stay behind the fence and go to the compost on the far side where no bird ranges. The ripe fruit, the split ones and the pecked ones, comes over the fence in the sorted bucket. Plants one way, food the other, and the rule never takes a day off. But a tomato vine has to be eaten in quantity to hurt a hen. The next item does not. The next item is the deadliest thing in your kitchen, and almost nobody has ever heard of it. Number 7. The bag of beans. If I could reach through this screen and nail one warning to every pantry door, it would be this one, because nothing else on this list kills so fast from so little. Dry beans. The plain paper bag of kidney beans on the shelf. Raw and dry, those beans carry a natural poison, a lectin, one the chemists have a very long name for, and I will not attempt it twice. What matters is what the university extension people publish about it. In a bird the size of a hen, as few as 3 or 4 raw beans can kill. Not a bucketful, 3 or 4. It attacks the blood and the gut. There is no antidote for a vet to give, and a hen that finds spilled beans at morning can be gone before evening chores. Most keepers who lose a bird this way never learn what happened. She was fine, and then she was not, and the fox gets blamed for something the pantry did. Now hear the other half, because it is good news. Cooked beans are safe. A proper boil breaks that poison down completely, which is why a hen can clean up a plate of leftover cooked beans and be perfectly well. Soaked and boiled, a bean is just protein. It is only the raw, dry bean that is a loaded gun. So the danger is not the meal. The danger is the spill, the handful that scatters when a bag tears, the jar of soup mix a child tips over in the pantry, the row of pole beans left drying on the vine in the fall garden, right at a chicken's eye level. In our house, beans go from sack to soak pot to stove, and they make no side trips. A spill gets swept before it gets forgotten, the way a dropped nail gets picked up in a barn full of bare feet. And the bean rows we grow for drying stand inside the garden fence, which you already know the birds never cross. The same fence, saving its second life of the evening. Number 6. The barn at night. Here is one almost nobody warns you about, and it reached me the way the best warnings do, from keepers who learned it in the dark. An empty 5-gallon bucket, left standing in the run, goes over in the night. Wind, a rat, a startled bird, it hardly matters. What matters is that a chicken is nearly blind in the dark. Whatever panics the flock at night, they cannot see their way out of it. Birds pile into a corner, and in the morning the keeper finds a hen dead under a bucket that weighed next to nothing, and cannot understand how such a thing is possible. The old keepers call leaving buckets standing a rookie mistake, and they are being kind when they say it. Water is worse. A half-full pail left open is a drowning trap for a young bird that goes in after a floating bug and cannot climb the slick plastic to get back out. And a length of baler twine dangling from a nail is a snare that tightens the more a tangled bird fights it. Our rule is short. Nothing loose in the barn at night. Every bucket is turned over or hung on its nail. Twine is coiled and hung. Tools go on the wall, not against it. The evening round ends with one slow look down the aisle, the same look every night. That rule was not written for chickens. It was written by lantern light, by people who knew you cannot leave a thing on the floor where feet cannot see it. The chickens just collect the benefit. It costs nothing. It takes 2 minutes, and it is the last item on this list that is an accident. The next 3 you do on purpose, believing with your whole heart that you are protecting the flock. Number 5. The poison you never fed them. The old saying goes, keep poultry and you will keep rats. Feed on the ground, warm bedding, eggs. Sooner or later, every keeper hears the scratching, and the modern answer is one aisle over at the hardware store. A bait station. Sealed, locked, safe. The label says so, and the label is telling the truth as far as it goes. Your hen cannot reach the bait inside the box. But the box does not keep the mouse in. Most of that bait is slow poison. The rodent eats it and then wanders sick and slowing for days. And where does a poisoned mouse end its wandering? In the open, in the run, in the yard, in daylight, moving badly. And a chicken, whatever the storybooks told you, is a sharp-eyed little meat eater that will take a slow mouse as the best gift of the week. The poison you locked away from her comes to her on 4 legs, and it only takes 1. The keepers under the big warning videos trade an old trick instead, and I pass it along as they tell it. Hot red pepper flakes, stirred through the feed. The science folks say a bird does not carry the nerve that feels a pepper's burn, so the hens eat straight past it. The mice and the rats feel it the way you and I do, and they move out. I give you that one as the keepers give it, and it costs $1 to try. What I can give you from under my own roof is older. A barn cat that earns her milk. Snap traps inside a wooden box with a hole no hen can enter. And feed in steel cans with tight lids, because the surest way to fight rats is to stop setting their table. Our people were fighting rodents with cats and steel 100 years before anyone sold poison in a plastic box, and the method has one great virtue. Nothing about it can come back to the flock. Number 4. The mistake that looks like kindness. Now for the strangest item on the list, the one that gets called care in October and becomes a burial in February. The first hard cold comes and the keeper looks at his coop and sees gaps, wind coming in at the eaves. So he seals it, plugs every crack, covers every vent, wraps the whole coop in plastic sheeting until not a breath of air moves. Snug, he says, warm at last. He has just built the box that will sicken them, and here is why. A flock on the roost breathes out water all night long, and the droppings beneath them give off ammonia. In a sealed coop, that moisture and that gas have nowhere to go. The air turns damp, and damp cold is crueler than dry cold. It is the wet air that freezes combs, not the thermometer. And the ammonia, night after night, burns quietly at the birds' throats and lungs until the coughing starts. In the deep of winter, a hen sits that roost 14 hours a night. 14 hours in wet, sharp air, every night all winter. The tightest coop on the lane goes down with sick birds, while the drafty old barn next door stays healthy, and nobody can understand it. A chicken wears a down coat she can never take off. Cold is not her enemy. Wet air is. So the answer is not heat, and it is not sealing. It is the oldest carpentry rule our people never wrote down. Ventilation above the roost, never a draft on the roost. Climb into any coop our grandfathers raised and you will find it. Openings high under the eaves above the birds' heads, so the warm, damp air rises and leaves, while down at roost height the air stays still. Wind over them, never on them. The fix costs a morning. 2 openings high on the walls covered in wire mesh. That is the whole medicine. Number 3. The heat nobody respects. Every new keeper fears winter for the flock. It is the wrong season to fear. Between the two, it is summer that fills the burying ground, and it does it in an afternoon. That down coat that laughs at January has no buttons. She cannot take it off in July. A hen does not sweat. All she can do is pant and hold her wings out and wait for the air to be kind again. The keepers down south will tell you that when the heat index sits above 100 for a day or two, hens start going down, and the heaviest, best-fed birds go down first. The catalogs will sell you an answer, of course. Fans, misters, cooling plates for the coop, and I will not say a word against them except this. They all hang from a wire, and the same heat wave that is cooking your birds is the one that takes the power out. The two things that actually carry a flock through killing heat have no cord: deep shade, all afternoon, and cool water inside that shade. Mark that second part. A hen will not cross a stretch of burning sun to reach a far-off drinker. If the water does not sit in the shade with her, for her purposes it does not exist. Shade she can rest in, water an easy step away, and the cool bare earth under a tree to press her body against. That is the whole system. Our coops were sited by men who never once expected a power company to save anything. Trees on the west side for the brutal end of the day, deep eaves, and water in the shadow of the barn. When you plant a shade tree by a coop, you are cooling birds that will not hatch for 20 years. That is the kind of equipment our people believe in. Number 2, the lamp. I have been holding this one back, and I want you to hear it the way I heard it, from a man who stands in the ashes for a living. Under the biggest chicken warning video on the internet, a firefighter left a comment, and I have not been able to forget it. He wrote that he had stood in the burnt shells of coops where the heat lamp was still hanging exactly as the owner secured it. Still fastened, still in place. The lamp never fell. It did not need to fall. Bedding dust, the fine dry powder that wings stir into the air every minute of a brooder's day, drifts up against a bulb that runs hot enough to cook by, and it ignites. His warning was simple. Securing the lamp is not the same as being safe from it. Hold the arithmetic of it in your hand for a moment. Every other danger on this list takes a bird, maybe two, and gives you a lesson to bury with them. The lamp takes the flock. One bulb, every bird in one night, and usually the coop with them, and sometimes the barn standing beside it. There is no predator alive that does that. And the bitter part is that the birds it hangs over mostly do not need it. A grown hen in her down coat keeps herself warm through weather that would put you and me in the ground. It is the chicks that need warmth, and for them, hear this plainly. Before the first heat lamp was ever sold, every chick in this country was raised warm, and they were raised under a hen. Our brooders still work the way they worked in my great-grandfather's day. A broody hen, deep dry bedding, a draft-free corner of the barn. She runs at exactly the right temperature. She never leaves the job, and in all the generations our people have kept birds, no hen has ever burned down a barn. The flock is nearly home now. Before number 1, if something on this list is about to save a bird of yours, tap the like button so it reaches the next keeper's table. Now, number 1. Number 1, the unlocked hour. Here is the heartbreak, and I have heard it told in the same words by more keepers than I can count. The fox did not break in. The raccoon did not tear the wire. The door was open. It was one night. It was a late supper, or company come by, or rain, and the walk out to the coop could surely wait a little. The birds had already gone up to roost on their own, the way they faithfully do, and the yard was quiet, and the door stood open 1 hour into the dark. Understand what that hour is. A raccoon does not test your carpentry on the night you forget. He has been testing it every night on his rounds, patient as a tax collector. The one open door on the one careless evening is not bad luck. It is the appointment he has been keeping all year, and a chicken on the roost in the dark is the most helpless creature in creation. She cannot see, she will not run, she just waits in the blackness. That is why this is the heartbreak item. Not one bird lost, but the whole flock. In the 1 hour it was nobody's job to walk outside. So here is the whole secret of the Amish coop, and I am sorry to report there is no secret in it. We do not have better locks than you. We have fewer excuses. Our evening runs by the sun, not by a screen, and the last round of chores is not a decision anyone makes. It is the shape of the evening itself. Stock checked, water topped, doors latched in the same order by lantern if need be, every dark, not most darks, every dark. Habit beats hardware. A plain coop closed every single night beats a fortress closed most of them. And one strange ally before I close the door, passed along as the keepers tell it. Some flocks are guarded all day for a handful of corn. Keepers who stay friendly with the crow family at the wood line say hawks give the whole yard a wide berth, because crows hate a hawk and mob one on sight. My grandfather fed the crows at the fence post and called them his black roosters. Take that one as testimony, not gospel. But I notice the crows are still on the fence post, and the hawks are still somewhere else. So count them back once and notice what they have in common. Treats sorted, not dumped. Vines behind the fence, ripe fruit over it. Beans to the pot, never the yard. Nothing loose in the barn at night. A cat and a trap instead of a slow poison. Air over the roost, never on it. Shade and close water when the heat comes. A hen instead of a bulb. And a door closed at dark every dark. 9 mistakes, and not one of the fixes costs more than a morning's work. Your birds were never asking you for equipment. They were asking you for habits. Now I will hold the lantern the other way because the best line in this whole story was not mine. It was a keeper's correction under another man's video. So, what almost got your flock and what saved them? Put it in the comments below. The professionals are especially welcome, the firefighters, the vets, the ones who see how these stories end. Your comment under this video may be the one that saves the next keeper's birds. If plain answers from an old coop are worth your evening, subscribe, and there will be more of them. Thank you for sitting with me. Now go close the door.